You're so much on top of things.
No, I try. Today's
a crazy day?
It's just things don't slow down for whatever reason.
Yeah. You've been out on your bike, huh?
Yeah.
Nice. Nice day for it.
Oh, yeah. You know, I was out on Sunday.
We actually need these,
100 degrees.
100 degrees? Actually,
Even
we don't even need these, do we?
Well, it's mostly, you know, so that if you go like that, so you know.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
So
I will avoid it because I think the sound will mess me up.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
kinda-
like
it's kinda weird.
if you just see me kind of go like this, that means you ain't have to do that. So
Edward's the ringmaster here.
Yeah, even I went to church and we took the scooter and it's like at 1 o'clock. It was like it's 100 degrees out.
Oh, it was crazy over the weekend, wasn't it? God almighty.
All right, so
All right.
we will. Let's just get this bad boy started.
Let's get it started.
Here we go. Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Bruce McGowan, longtime sports radio personality. Now, today's show is going to be fun because in the studio, in the next segment, we're going to have a guest, Brian Kerr, who's the managing director for GL Ventures, to discuss esports. So he's going to educate us all about what
Educate us?
Educate us.
I like
listen,
that.
I've had
I've
6
never
years.
heard that word.
You never heard that?
No.
I went 6 years of high school. That's what it taught me. So he'll teach us all about esports. You know anything about esports?
I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it, so I'm going to be in for an education.
Yeah. Well, Brian and I were talking before the show a little bit about it, and it was very interesting when he talks about the Staples Center and how popular esports is going to be, or is already right now. Today's trivia theme is random sports trivia, and the reason we do that is because at each commercial break we ask a sports trivia question,
Which I will try to answer,
which you
and our
usually
guest
know
will
pretty
try to
well.
answer. Brian will try to answer
And we want
too.
the people, the audience, to email Edward at sportsecon101.com the answer to that question. Also, sometime during the show, I want to talk about Lonzo Ball and the fact that even though it may be a little annoying, I think the guy's pretty smart to try to get the shoe deal as soon as possible.
19 years old?
Something like that, yeah.
Well, Kobe Bryant was, 19 when he broke in the league? So.
18, I think.
Was he 18?
So it's the same thing as LeBron.
Holy moly.
Yeah, it's amazing how they can just see the talent.
Well, hockey, you break in at 18. Baseball sometimes.
Yeah.
Not football. Football, you have to build yourself up
Exactly.
a little. You know.
All right, well, this segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, still providing mortgage investments that are currently yielding over 7.5%, secured by Bay Area real estate. That would be San Francisco Bay Area.
Right, for those that live, say, in Poughkeepsie, New York, and wonder what you're talking about.
Who, what? I know, I've heard of Poughkeepsie, I'm just kidding.
Or, Darlington, Tennessee, or whatever that place is.
Darlington? That's cute.
Yeah, I think isn't that where they have a stock car race?
I think so.
Yeah, somewhere down there.
And that's where they go to the college, what's the matter with you?
What's the matter, you?
Matter?
Hey!
Okay, all right.
Get out of my face.
So check out PacificPrivateMoney.com. Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back.
As you
Okay,
can
so
tell,
that's our
Brian,
first
we
segment.
get kind of silly here.
Yeah, we get kind of fun.
We have fun.
All about good radio.
It is.
So I'm going to the Giants game tomorrow night.
Oh, I'm going today.
All right.
Right after this, yeah.
I heard it's the first time they haven't sold out.
They haven't sold out the last 2 games. Yeah,
Fairweather fans.
That's really nice for the people who live around there.
Yeah.
I used to live on 2 Townsend. It was a nightmare when it was.
But it's still
nighttime.
still 38,000. It's not really
Still,
that. What's the difference? And half the people don't even drive. So can you imagine if everybody drove?
Not everybody takes part, and there's just trains of people walking down all the
crazy.
streets.
And the ferry.
I'm gonna, luckily I'm getting to the game a little late this morning, so it'll be by the time I get there, the crowds will be. Everybody usually gets in the park by the 3rd inning.
So you get all the best stuff. So
yeah, I just got to get some post game sound for doing the updates tonight. So
you're going to be in the booth.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eve and I, we did this. My wife, she did a fundraiser thing. And
so you got some freebies?
We got some good tickets for tomorrow.
Nice.
And we get to go to the Gotham Club or something.
So that's nice. Yeah, you like the Gotham Club.
Okay, so I went. I'm supposed to meet.
You might even meet
Bobby
Larry
Evans.
Bear there.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Well, Bobby's supposed to meet me there. So.
Bobby Evans?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yeah,
Bobby's a good guy. Yeah, having a rough year though.
I know. I can only imagine. I hope he doesn't get fired.
No, he won't be. They're not gonna panic on 1 year. It's not his fault. Yeah. What could they have done? How could they have predicted Madison Bumgarner would injure his shoulder that Hunter Pence wouldn't be effective? That
Yeah.
It wouldn't
Johnny
hit.
Cueto would get hurt.
Johnny Cueto getting hurt. Excuse me.
and Michael Morse getting hurt in a
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah, in a fight. That's right. He hasn't come back yet.
It's crazy. All right, here we go.
There we go.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. So in our studio, face to face, is Brian Kerr, Managing Director for GL Ventures, to discuss esports. First of all, GL stands for?
Good luck.
There you go. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
We could all use some of that.
Okay, so for all of us inexperienced esports people, what is esports?
Well, first, thanks for having me.
Sure.
And esports, for the non-educated people,
Yeah.
is the competitive gaming scene online of where spectators watch other people play video games. And most people think, oh, how big could that possibly be?
Yeah.
I'll give you two just sort of things to put in perspective. The top three categories on YouTube are sports, music, and video games.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's just one thing. And then Amazon bought a little company called Twitch TV for
I've heard that.
$970 million
Uh-huh.
recently, and all they do is live streaming of video games, where their whole thing, their whole product is letting other people watch you or me play video games, and we broadcast just like we would on this radio show.
Sorry for laughing, but I
I
mean, it's fun
yeah.
to play video games myself.
But why would you want to watch
Watch
it?
someone,
Yeah,
yeah.
I guess that. But obviously, there are people that want to watch it. Is it younger people, or I mean, people my age? Maybe some people my age would like to do that. I don't know.
It's primarily young people, 15 to 35 males. I would say 70% of the demographic, and then you have sort of all over the place from younger women growing up. I mean, that's actually a pretty big group, and especially as things go towards mobile games, you have a lot more women playing, and MMOs. But the competitive scene, primarily male.
MMO standing for?
Like massively multiplayer. I make a
Oh.
character, I level it up, I customize what I wear, and it's like a
Sounds
Sims.
that sounds like when my daughter does that. She gets on these little games, she gets on her not on her computer, on her phone, and I'm watching her, and it's amazing. It's like watching this virtual, city being built, and she's building it, and then she's changing it, and it's crazy. I don't know how she does it. I said, "Show me how you do it." And she just twitches her thumbs a couple times, and all of a sudden the scene changes. It's
Well, as soon
crazy.
as you get My Little Pony, I'm in. So, it's funny because I'm thinking people would probably want to, if they're going to watch it, it'd be games that they probably enjoy and want to see someone better than them.
So
Is that something?
40% of the people who watch have played the game at some point in time, but they don't currently play it at all. So think about an engineer in San Francisco as they're typing away code, working for PayPal or Square, or some other company. On their second screen, on their second monitor, they're watching an esports broadcast with shoutcasters, just like we might listen to a radio show talking about a baseball game going on. Or
And did you see him go and eat that Pac-Man?
Exactly.
My question is, how did you get into this, Brian? Because it sounds like a fascinating career. I mean, are there careers like this now? I guess there are, obviously. There's so much going on with technology. I mean, was this something that you kind of focused on when you were younger? Or you just kind of dropped into it accidentally, or how did that happen?
So when I first started, esports was not a career, and gaming wasn't really a career unless you worked for Sega or Sony as a marketing manager or a game developer of some kind.
Sure.
And even then, the pay isn't very good. And when I got started in, I think it was 2013 was my first time really diving deep into video games. It was through a marketing agency that was doing a lot of the big AAA game title launches for Square Enix. I was working with a few companies like NVIDIA on their product launches for Tegra and their chips that they were doing. And that was my foray, and that's when I went to the first PAX event. And for those of you who don't know, PAX is an event in Seattle. They also have one in Boston. 150,000 people come, like a Comic-Con, where you're dressed up in different gamer gear, your favorite characters, you dress up, and all the brands and companies and game publishers show up, and they show off all their latest games that they're going to launch that
Bring
year.
out My Little Pony. I'm there with the headdress and everything.
What are some of the popular games now, the ones that are being watched and the ones that are really being, popularized now? What are some? And maybe they're very common and knowledgeable to those of our listeners out there who might be familiar with what you guys are doing.
Yeah, so the main games are produced by Riot Games, which is owned by Tencent, a big Chinese publisher, Valve, and There's some smaller ones, but there's really only top like 6. So most people think, oh, video games, I know that. That's Call of Duty, that's Halo. I've heard of those for Xbox. But really, those are tier 2 esports. That's not where all the viewership is. The viewership is in games like League of Legends, which is a 5v5 multiplayer game where you're trying to take over a map against the enemy team. And they're very strategic, very collaboration-based, and that's why people watch. They want to see both the independent individual skill as well as the sort of the team coordination. And that's how, there's so many levels of difficulty in the games, and because the publishers are constantly updating their games every month, it's like, what if the rules of the NBA changed each month? It would keep it interesting, for sure, at the very least. And that's what the game publishers are doing.
Well, like football has, the individual talent, but then working together as a team. So I kind of understand that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, the old video games of football. Maybe John Madden or one of those type. I mean, I'm thinking even way before that. Remember the little guys sitting on the vibrating thing and you like kick the field. I mean,
oh
I remember those.
Oh,
yeah,
it was awful.
Yeah.
Oh,
I loved that when I was a kid. I used to, you put the little plastic men on, and you turn on the little vibrating.
Shake around and
there was no system to it. It was just live.
You had a little cotton football.
Yeah, I know.
You kick field goals with it. You had a little kicker.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I know it's ridiculous.
Well, think about how many board games are still around. How many people play board games anymore? You see those anymore? You don't. I don't think you do.
You see a lot of comic book stores going out of business, and that was their main thing.
The board games. Yeah. That sort of went by the wayside. But
so to answer your question, League of Legends is more of a strategy MOBA game, and there's a similar one called Defense of the Ancients. Dota 2 is sort of the acronym for it.
Well, when you do the 5-on-5, are the 5 people communicating with each other, or are they just kind of knowing what the other one is?
So you see them in the game itself, but you're also usually on either Skype or a software platform for gamers called Discord, which, by the way, just got valuated at $750 million. It's only been around for 2 years. It's just ridiculous.
I mean, I can kind of see how, the virtual reality where you wear the glasses and then, you have to be like a sniper or something like that. And I could kind of see being sort of interested in, if I'm not actually being the guy doing it, I'm watching and I'm seeing where the guy is looking behind, enemy lines or something. Is it kind of something like that too?
I think the AR VR stuff isn't that relatable to the majority of esports folks that are watching right now.
You're using these acronyms.
So augmented reality, virtual reality.
Okay.
So when somebody's wearing a HTC Vive or Samsung headset, they just look dorky and they're waving their arms around and flailing. It's not that interesting to watch. I mean, unless it's like a NASCAR crash where they trip over the cords.
If they have what he's watching up on a screen, and you can see what he's doing, and you'd be like, oh, go to the left,
So they tried that on G4 Tech TV back in the day. They made a shooting game. I think it was for America's Army. It was a game made by the U.S. government to trick people into signing up to join the Army. But they did.
That would work.
Smart marketing, huh?
Yeah, they made these suits that people could wear, and then they would actually move characters inside the game. And it just didn't resonate with people because you don't have that same thing at home. You can't relate to it. Like, we can go outside and play basketball. We can relate to the NBA even if we're not good because we played it before.
Sure.
But that's just not true for VR at this point. Not everybody has a headset to play.
Oh.
It's interesting you mentioned, I don't get off on a tangent. Last night I dreamed I was in the middle of an NBA game and I was playing it, and I was like a JaVale McGee character, so a guy got alley-oop to me, and I got about 2 inches off the ground, and the ball was blocked. I just realized, hey, in my dream I realized, hey, I'm 65 years old, I shouldn't be out here. and so I went to the sideline. It's a true story.
In your dream, you went to the sideline.
In my dream, I went to the sideline. My daughter was there waiting for me with a cold cup of Java, one of those iced lattes. She goes, you need this.
Smart girl.
Yeah.
Okay, going to our first commercial break here, again, talking random trivia. Since 1900, who is the only Major League pitcher to win 30 or more games in a season 4 or more times? That's a trivia question. Email Edward at sportsecon101.com the answer to that question. And don't touch that dial because we're going to be right back.
I think I have the answer to that one.
Really? Okay.
But I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
What was the question?
who is the one pitcher since 1900 who has won 30 or more games 4 times? Obviously, it hasn't been recently. So, because in the old days they used to have 4-man rotations, so you could pitch theoretically, 40 times a year.
Yeah.
Now, if you're lucky, you can pitch 30 times a year. God, speaking of that, Clayton Kershaw last night, he gives up 7 hits, but he gives up 1 hit an inning, shuts out Chicago. Chicago's not very good. And the Dodgers won their, the 30th of their last 34 games last night.
Maybe this will be their year.
God, I mean, the problem with them is they're like the Warriors a couple of years ago. They're saving it all for the regular season. They better save it for the postseason. If they have another meltdown, oh my God! How many times have they lost in the playoffs?
At least 3.
4 or 5, I think.
Yeah, but in the last some years.
Oh yeah, they just haven't been there. And they won the division twice when the Giants won the World Series.
Yeah.
How about that? So there you go.
All right, there we go. Well, welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here along with Bruce McGowan. First trivia question. Since 1900, who's the only Major League pitcher to win 30 or more games in a season 4 or more times?
It's got to be Christy Mathewson.
It is.
Yeah. Christy Mathewson, for those that don't know, was a great pitcher for the Giants prior to the 1920s. The Giants won, I believe, 10 pennants and 3 World Series from 1903 to 1924. And he wasn't on the 20s teams, but he actually went off and was a volunteer in World War I, as were a lot of Americans, and he got gassed.
Yeah.
And when he came back, he never was the same. He was in his 30s by then. His career was done, but he died at the age of like 42 from a result of the gas that he inhaled. And it wasn't even on the battlefield. They were doing a sort of like a test or something, and he inhaled too much.
Crazy. Yeah, mustard gas.
Yeah, mustard gas. Yeah, that stuff was used a lot during World War I.
Yeah,
so you're a lockbox of information.
Oh, he is.
A lockbox of useless information. Doesn't do any good, but it's good at parties when people are bored.
That's right. Yeah, it was 1903, 04, 05, and 08.
Yeah. John McGraw was his manager. John McGraw was a character. He would not brook any kind of, problems with his players. If you gave him a hard time, you're out of here. Little guy, they called him the Little Napoleon. And he managed for 30 years. Yeah. Imagine that. But 10
he was quite a gentleman, though.
He was a gentleman, but one thing relating to what Brian was talking about with the games, he was a great card player. And the story was that if you sat down with him, he got you in a card game, he'd make sure he got every last dollar in your pocket.
Really?
Oh, yeah, he was very good at that. Yeah. But he'd do it with a smile.
Yeah. Well, at least
that's what they call him, the gentleman. Yeah. And he was college educated, went to Bucknell University, so gave the game a positive image, which it needed in those days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of drinking and a lot of carousing in those days. Yeah. Not that there isn't today, but it was really bad in those days.
Well, we have in the studio here Brian Kerr, who's the managing director for GL Good Luck Ventures, to discuss esports. So, walk us through this. First of all, how does the audience even know? Because mention about the Staples Center, which you were talking to me earlier.
Yeah, so the World Championship of League of Legends, they announced they were going to host the World Championship in LA at the Staples Center. And it wasn't even 2 hours that went by before it was completely sold out. And, they had more than 15,000 people sort of chucking around, and even the ones who couldn't get in were circling around the stadium, just sort of trying to figure out what was going on.
I like the seagulls getting in there.
Yeah. But what most people don't know is that, in terms of ticket sales, that was a first at that time. But what was more important was they had millions of people watching live online. Wow. And that's what sort of exceeded all other sports at that time.
What did they charge for tickets?
It was like $40 to $60, depending on where it was.
Okay, so now why would anyone go to it if you could see it online?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
For a person like me, I really don't like being there. It's crowded. There's lots of people, and they're poking you and elbowing you and fighting you for food. And the bathrooms are usually horrible at some point. And unless you have a nice box, then it's a different story. But
we're going to do a luxury box to watch guys play video games.
Yeah, you're seeing a guy playing video games.
I was in one with the Plantronics crew who sponsored it for $400,000. So,
but you're watching a bunch of guys on the floor playing video games. You can't even see what they're doing. You just see them kind of.
They must have had a projector.
Yeah, they must have.
Yeah, I mean, how I think about this is it's just like any top DJ right now. You have some guy on a stage. There's a set of computer equipment. There's neon lights flashing around. They don't move a lot. They might wave a hand around to the beat, but there's 10,000 people going crazy over what's happening, and it's all because of the projectors, the music, the sound that's going on,
and those thumbs
everything
flying
else.
across those tiny
Yeah,
screens.
but the guys on stage aren't really doing a whole lot physically.
Yeah.
So it's very, very similar.
People are amused pretty easily, aren't they?
They are. You know, it doesn't take much to get on Facebook sometime and read what people are writing. You know, it's just
Facebook. What's Facebook?
What's Facebook? Well, you know, Instagram or what is it?
No,
What's the other one?
yeah.
Snapchat. Yeah. My daughter keeps trying to get me on Snapchat. I said, I'm not going on Snapchat. No. She goes, that's right. You stay on Facebook. That's for the old guys.
I know, isn't that
Yeah,
funny?
it is.
Yeah. Well, it's because you write. You know, you actually write something. Of Snapchat, you just take a little picture and then go, what's up? You know, or whatever.
Is
I
that
don't
what
know.
that? See, I'm still back in the olden days.
You're not into
I
Snapchat.
told all my friends short Snapchat as soon as it went to over 20, and sure enough, what is it today? It's like 15, so it's going.
You know,
Going south.
I thought, what's Facebook at now?
93?
150
150?
a share.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
something around there.
See, I think at some point they're going to go.
Well, how many
They're
people, how many people
they're
on-
super cash rich right now.
How many people
they're
on
very-
Facebook have Facebook accounts?
Oh, well, we used to be
Like
a billion.
A couple of billion, is it?
I think it's 2 billion right now.
Whoa, that's 7 billion people in the world. That means 1 out of every 3 people, almost, has a Facebook account.
Well, here's
That's
the question:
amazing.
why don't the other 2/3 have them? Because they don't have computers.
They don't have
That's a
internet.
problem.
Yeah,
There's a lot
that's
of
they're
people
getting
that
cell
don't even
phones.
know.
It's happening.
Well, and Facebook is.
And also China, there's no Facebook really for
No,
the
no
majority
China.
of people. No, they all use WeChat. WeChat is their Facebook. It's
Really?
a messenger.
Oh,
You can order a cab from it, and you can send people money, and it's sort of an all-in-one app
Wow.
there. But
Very
yeah, they
That's
have
very
they have their
good.
2
That's very
billion.
phenomenal.
Yeah, it started off as a way for businessmen there to hire prostitutes locally.
Oh.
So, and then somehow it grew into something with 2 billion users over in China.
And knowing China, they probably, the state probably got its little share of
Oh,
that.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
It's like, all right, you know.
Well, you know what they did to gain adoption? They had a promotion where they spent $1 billion, and they said, if I send you, Edward, some $20, you'll get double of whatever I send you. So you'll get 40, and then you can send me 40 back, and I'll get 80. And they did this as a way for you to guarantee that you'll sign up in the app,
Yeah.
and guarantee that you'll make all your friends sign up in the app because you're just sharing money, and they just made it rain for a month.
Oh my God.
And they had 99% of the population on WeChat now.
Wow. That's
That's
amazing.
pretty.
That's some
smart. That's
very special Chinese antics there, but
Wow.
without the backing from the government, that's very hard.
Wow.
But
Yeah, well, you have to have $1 billion
Yeah.
to do that. That's pretty ingenious. I gotta say. Again, like with Facebook, what do they? I guess they just charge for ads and stuff.
Yeah.
Theoretically, it's free.
and they have the marketplace that no one uses, trying to take the place of Craigslist. But I didn't even know it existed in the phone app. I found it the other day. I was like, oh, there's this thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
very smart.
It's amazing what you find on Facebook nowadays. I mean, people post all sorts of things on there.
It all depends on who your friends are.
Yeah,
for
that's true.
for a long time, I was like, why am I just getting all this Donald Trump hate?
Oh, there's a lot of that. boy.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. And then I realized I'm getting so much Donald Trump because I am friends with my father, and he shares all this political
Oh.
news.
Okay.
And it just, because he's so high up in my friend's hierarchy, Facebook knows by machine learning that his stuff is important to me, even though I couldn't care less about any of the
Gotcha.
political stuff he did.
Gotcha.
And not to get on a tangent, but how do they decide? I mean, if you have, say, 5,000 friends, they all can't have their posts on your, you know, when you go to look at your favorites page or whatever page it is where all your friends are, but they have certain ones that are on there. How do they decide who's going to be on your page or the page that you have access to?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, if you go, in other words, if you go to your own page, you have
Yeah.
your own stuff.
Yeah.
But then you hit, you know, where your friends are,
Uh-huh.
and there's, you know, you have, let's say you have 5,000 friends, which I think is the limit you're allowed.
Yeah.
And you can't obviously see what every one of your friends has posted lately, but you can see maybe 30 or 40, and there's this huge and long, you know, you can go through, it takes forever.
Mhm.
But I mean, how do they decide who gets on there anyway? Who gets on your page? Is it just
So
random?
my last company, which was an esports team, we had 5 million people on our main Facebook page that liked
Wow.
us.
Okay,
And
okay. You can have more than 5,000 friends.
Oh,
No,
oh,
no,
I don't
no,
think
no.
so.
You really?
You're capped.
No.
You must have hit
I
5,000.
do.
You have a lot of friends.
Yes,
Really?
Well, I do it for promotion because I work at a local radio station,
Yeah.
so I sort of
Someone
promote.
told me no,
So
no, you
so
have
that they'll
Okay.
cap you, but then they'll let anyone else follow you and see
Yeah.
your news updates.
Okay.
But in terms of friends that you have access to message to and everything, they cap it at 5,000.
Well, I wonder why they do that. Just like
Because you can't have really more than 150 people that you truly care about.
True.
That's true.
Yeah, no,
I have
that's true.
5,000. I know them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And some guy I don't know who lives in like Tennessee the other goes, "Oh, thanks for being my friend for 5 years." I go, I hate to say that. I said, I don't know this guy. You know?
And I get all these, and also on LinkedIn and stuff too.
Oh yeah, LinkedIn.
And I go, listen, just because you see me with a microphone here, you want to be a friend of mine. I have no idea who you are.
Yeah.
You're a stalker or something. Forget it.
Yeah.
If I were a stalker, I'd want to stalk you, Edward.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll take that as an compliment.
You're such a nice guy.
Oh, well, so are you.
I try to be. My dog thinks I am.
Well, you know what? Dogs
Usually do. Yeah.
I know. How many times would a dog not come up and greet you?
Yeah, there's a few.
If a dog doesn't like you,
No,
you might have,
if you're
you might
the
have
owner,
a problem.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
If you're feeding the dog and it still doesn't like you.
They follow the food. They got no shame.
No.
So, and you were saying David Stern was not very happy with the esports?
Oh, so they had this ball hosted by, I think it was ESPN, and it was over in New York, and David Stern, past commissioner of the NBA, they were asking him about esports, and he's done some investments in fantasy esports himself. So it's betting on, just like fantasy of traditional sports, you choose the different players on an esports team, and depending on how they do, you can win something. And it might be against your friends, it could be against the whole world. I think his investment was called Alpha Draft, which got up by DraftKings. So they rolled up those companies. But they were asking him about the Staples Center and how it filled out so soon. And he's like, if I hear that one more time, I'm going to... He was so upset that it actually outperformed the Lakers championship.
I'm not a big fan of David Stern anyway. He allowed one of my favorite teams, the Sonics, to move to Oklahoma City. I always thought that was unfair. Sonics were very good up in Seattle, and they had one bad year, and they decided to move them. Big mistake. I mean, Oklahoma City's turned out to be a great NBA destination, but they never should have left Seattle. Come on, it's a great city.
I know, Luke Ridnour was there.
How do you feel about the Raiders moving?
I'm not happy with that at all. But then again, the Raiders they've been
He's going to move to Las Vegas just because of that.
By the way, where the Raiders are building their stadium right now is a homeless encampment.
There you go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You get cheap labor.
Yeah.
Okay, here's our second trivia question. Who was the first recipient of the NBA Sportsmanship Award?
Jeez, when was that? What year? Can you give us a hint?
I'm not going to tell you yet.
Okay. All
You
right.
have to guess.
Okay.
And it's after 1830. Okay. That's Dallas Sports Econ 101. I'll be right back. That's a good hint, huh?
Considering the NBA has only been around since '46.
I know. That's why I figured it was a good hint for you.
Yeah. Sportsmanship. I didn't even know they had one. And here I am. I've been covering the NBA since then.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you will know this, but I'll give you the year.
Probably Steph Curry. Such a nice guy. God, what did you see? By the way, he shot a 68, hit an eagle. I mean, the guy was playing out of his gourd the other day. He said it was the best round of golf he's ever played. And he's actually shot better than a 68 before. This guy.
Where was he playing?
Steph Curry?
Yeah, he was playing up at that pro-am tournament. He finished third.
Wow.
I think Mark Mulder won it, and there was a bicyclist that finished second. He finished third. And it's funny, he had a bet with his dad because he always has his dad's a real good golfer. Says the loser has to jump into Lake Tahoe. And it's like the summertime. Why wouldn't he? But it's freezing because of all that snow that's still coming down. Yeah, not coming down, but it's.
Where was the pro-am?
It was at South Shore. At a golf course.
If it says the Olympic Club, make them jump in that lake at the Olympic
Oh,
Club.
yeah.
That would be a punishment.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, or jump into Ocean Beach. Yeah.
I want to ask about the Lonzo Ball thing. We still kind of go into
yeah.
the sports because you mentioned about the shoes.
Yeah, sure.
Kind of fun. All right, ready? There you go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Second trivia question. Who was the first recipient of the NBA Sportsmanship Award?
And I should know this. I've been covering the NBA since the 70s, and I've never even heard of this
I'll give you
award.
the year. I don't know if this will help.
Just say a random name. Larry
Well,
Bird. There you go.
Yeah, Larry Bird. Magic Johnson.
No, but
What year?
1996 was the year.
Oh, that was the first one?
That was the first one.
Michael Jordan.
No?
Scottie Pippen.
And I'm trying to remember if he played for the Pistons or he played for the...
Not a big name, huh? Moderately.
It was a consolation award.
There you go.
Joe Dumars.
Oh, Joe Dumars was a good guy. You know, he worked in the front office after that.
I'm trying to remember who...
With Detroit.
With Detroit, yeah.
Very good defensive player. Terrific defense. That was his strength.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm part of
He was on that Bad Boys team. It's funny, they're calling him the bad boy because he was anything but. Isaiah Thomas, bad boy. But it was Bill Laimbeer who was always. Bill Laimbeer was always getting into trouble with the refs. But Bill Laimbeer was also one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. He was also from one of the richest families in Detroit. His dad was some kind of auto executive. So,
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, because I know I did not like him on the court.
Well, he was kind of the guy that was the focus of criticism because he played rough.
Yeah.
He played by the rules, but he played rough. He pushed and shoved.
I think also there was that, this rich white boy coming in here.
Yeah.
He was like, well, you think I'm, rich and white? Yeah, I'll show you.
He was a little bit arrogant. I always liked talking to him because he was an intelligent guy, but he was a little full of himself. But, rightly so. He was a great player.
Yeah, he was good. For sure. Yeah. Okay. So, while we have Brian in the studio here, I did want to ask him because this whole big thing about Lonzo Ball. You hear it's getting annoying, but I'm thinking
what's getting annoying is his dad.
But the thing is, I think he's pretty smart though about trying to get a shoe deal as soon as possible. A, before the hype dies down, and B, either he gets hurt or doesn't have a good season or something. It's like trying to get as much as you can as quick as you can.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in my industry, it's the same thing. Is lifetime of a player is just a few years, and you don't know if you're just going to be sitting on the bench and you can't sign up for a bigger contract the next year, and you just got to get what you can, I think. And if you're in a good spot, a good negotiation spot, you should push for it.
What's interesting about Lonzo Ball? Apparently, during the summer league, he played with 4 different types of shoes in 4 different types of in 4 different games, just to check them all out. And I guess he's going to make his decision as to which shoe he pushes.
That sounds like a marketing story. That doesn't sound like.
I don't know if it's true. I mean, that's what do. I can't image that's actually what you're going to do. But doesn't that seem kind of strange?
I think you wear a shoe for a few minutes and you don't play a whole game with it.
Yeah,
I think
who knows?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Tell them what your.
So sponsorship is a huge part of any esports team's revenue, just like media rights and everything else. And the team Fnatic, which I used to work with, and I was a director of over in London, we had sponsorships with Monster, with really big brands like Intel and Nvidia, and we were just trying to figure out who's going to be the first esports team to get Nike or Under Armour or Adidas as a sponsor. And we knew that all the viewership was there that they wanted to see. We knew that they had huge sponsorship budgets, and we're like, why can't we get something like this? So during one of the championships, we had our 5 guys walk out on stage in the custom Nike orange sneakers, which were our brand colors. And they walked out on stage, and we had a phone call from the Nike execs the next few days. But something at the end of the day just doesn't resonate in terms of esports with these non-endemic brands that are more athletic oriented. I mean, I think Under Armour's probably going to get there in a few years, but that's actually a huge business opportunity we see at GL Ventures is for a lifestyle brand to come in and grow either from the ground up as a grassroots thing or for a larger brand to make a big play and say, hey, there's 300 million gamers in the world. Let me make a brand that they identify with.
Interesting. And it's interesting to me is the amount of money that NBA players now make off endorsing these shoes. I don't know of any other sport that has those endorsement opportunities. For instance, Steph Curry, who is going to be making, I believe, about $40 million a year with his new contract. He makes easily that much with what's the name of the company? Under Armour. Yeah. So can you? And I guess the NFL and baseball and the hockey and the other sports, they do have their sponsorship opportunities for athletes. But for some reason, I guess it's because the shoes, basketball shoes. Kids hear about that particular player wearing that particular brand, and that becomes a big deal.
I mean, because a football shoe,
who wears a football shoe?
Yeah.
Everybody wears a basketball shoe, right?
Well, basketball is one of the things that you actually can wear outside in your everyday life.
Yeah.
And I think why, so I was a marketer in my past life. I hosted events for the American Marketing Association and put on a ton of things over in San Francisco. But one of the biggest things when you spend money on sponsorship isn't advertising or reach or anything like that. It's actually positioning your product, and that's what you pay for. So you only want to pay a lot to the 1 or 2 individuals that can make you associated with the best in the world. And Steph Curry is, I think, on a different level to most people in terms of talent and accomplishments. And like you said earlier, he's just such a nice guy. So
it helps.
It definitely helps.
Everybody wants to be associated.
I think a lot of things. Conor McGregor isn't going to get all the same types of sponsorships that Steph Curry is. I mean, I also saw Steph Curry had a sponsorship with water. Like I forget what the water company was. But it was like a water purifier.
There's
some weird ones too.
He's making so much money, and again, not big. Hey, listen, make as much as you can. He's going to have to. I mean, how much do you need to live on? So he's probably going to have to start his own. If he hasn't started his own foundation, he'll start one. No, he can. Probably start a school for kids or whatever. I mean, he's one of those guys that'll do that.
Well, speaking, you mentioned Conor McGregor. So he and Mayweather have been going on the circuit.
Oh, God. Have you seen these conversations they've been having? Is it all a put on? I mean, is it all just a joke?
They're on the same airplane going back, and they probably looked at each other and.
But they go off.
We got to come up with something.
They've come up with about 3 or 4 of these on stage. It looks like the whole thing is scripted, but it's like a couple of schoolyard bullies, taunting each other. I guess that draws.
Well, that's what makes people watch it. They love
it.
it. Like,
we
miss that in our adult corporate lives. We don't get that schoolyard bullying.
That's true.
Well, they got to justify having charge whatever they're going to charge for the actual fight itself.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a board meeting? Two titans sitting across from each other, doing that to each other, and everybody else is kind of aghast at 2 people yelling at each other as they're fighting for power.
Well, I do know of a story where this attorney was representing a plaintiff and was so frustrated with the defendant, who was a small little guy who was actually a very nice guy, and this attorney for the plaintiff was actually kind of a little big.
Yeah.
He reaches over and he grabs the defendant by the neck during a deposition.
Wow.
Yeah, and finally, and so the defendant says, he goes, you know what? I refuse to be in the same room with this guy.
Yeah.
And
wow.
The court, you can't force me to be in the room with this guy's dangerous.
Yeah, that's crazy. People
a little different than a board meeting. But,
yeah.
What do they? Gosh, Mayweather, he's already worth hundreds of millions.
And I don't know why he's doing this. I guess he just has the ego. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand.
He just wants to make it rain a little bit more.
Yeah,
I think that's what it comes down to.
He's not a very likable guy, though. He just there's nothing about him likable. And McGregor, I don't know much about him, but he seems like a guy who's like taking advantage of the opportunity, which you can't blame him.
Yeah.
I mean, when is he going to get a payday? When is he going to get this kind of notoriety to lead to other opportunities for him?
Yeah. How much does he get paid for?
God knows. I don't know. Do you know?
No, I don't. I haven't heard the
Too
latest
much.
numbers. Exactly.
Too much.
I think it also depends on whatever they make.
Yeah.
It's a percentage of the pay-per-view.
Now, do they have in esports, like boxing or MMA fighting type?
No, I mean, they've not really. In esports, you mostly see team-oriented games where you have multiple people with some sort of strategy and they have to execute on it. And it's more of a soccer game, so like FIFA and Madden. Those are people play those. They're not the top watch, but they're definitely esports. So it's just, I think it's that one-on-one thing is something that holds it back a little bit. They do have fighting games which are one-on-one, and they've been around forever, like Street Fighter, which was in the arcades. And but yeah, definitely no MMA or WWE titles or anything.
Yeah, Edward asked a question because I walked in his office. Sometimes he's sitting there on the computer watching MMA fights. He's just, Bruce, don't interrupt me. I'm watching a fight.
He's just teasing. Unless it's Ronda Rousey, I still think.
No, what happened to her? She sort of disappeared.
She kind of disappeared.
She got beaten. Didn't she get knocked out or something right at the height of her career? Somebody blasted her. Some little gal. Because Ronda's a big girl, and this gal just popped her.
The first one or the second time?
I think it was the first time. I don't know.
Holly Holm was about the same size.
But Ronda, probably she was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. There you go, the SI Jinx.
Oh, that's right.
You've heard about that, right, Brian?
No.
There's an old story that going back to the 1970s, if you get on the cover of SI within a year, something bad is going to happen to you. In a weird sort of way, this has happened to a lot of athletes. Yeah. Some bad things have happened.
Never going to go for that cover shot.
Yeah.
Yes, they've asked me many times, and I've said no, for that reason.
Although George Blanda was asked that. He was on the cover at the age of 43 when he was kicking all those field goals, winning games back in 1970. He said, hey, listen, I'll take any publicity I can get.
Speaking of MMA, if you guys haven't done it, I highly recommend you guys to do it. And actually, everyone in the
Edward, not get into a fight?
No. I would love to watch that. I don't want you to get cauliflower ears, though.
Can you imagine Edward and I insulting each other? I mean, we're such nice guys.
Just face to face, nose to nose.
Yeah, nose to nose. When the mic goes off, though, it's a different story.
That's right. Yeah, hey, that hair is out of place.
I don't like the color of your shirt.
Hey, those are fighting words.
So what I was saying everybody should do is set up Google alerts of all things. You can go into Google and say, whenever my name is displayed in any news article, I'll get an email message about it. And I learned that I have an alternate ego that's also an MMA fighter. There's some Brian Kerr out there.
Really?
Yeah, my
Fighting.
name, Edward Brown, that's kind of common.
Yeah, Brown's a tough one. You're gonna get a lot of junk.
Now, this is a funny story. It's not a sports story, but it's just funny. There's a place in Fairfax, San Geronimo area, which for those who are not
That's
familiar,
where I live.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
very
Central Marin.
central, spiritual, relaxed,
Yeah, hippy dippy.
hippy
Yeah.
dippy,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm not a hippie dippy.
A lot of yoga yurts
Yes,
over there.
yes, exactly.
Definitely.
So I get a phone call one time on a Saturday morning, and this guy, just like this, says, "Oh man, Edward Brown, I listened to you last night at the spiritual place, man. It was awesome, right?" And I said, "Well, you know what? You got the wrong Edward Brown, and you need to turn your life over to Jesus Christ." I said, and suddenly he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I have the wrong Edward Brown."
Is there another Edward Brown that does radio?
No. There's an Edward Brown who was doing some spiritual talk. at
Oh,
Spirit
I
Rock.
thought you said he was talking about listening to you on the radio.
No. This was
Oh.
many years ago.
Oh,
He
okay.
thought I was the Edward Brown who he heard
Oh,
speak at
maybe
an
you
event.
were. You just didn't know it.
Maybe my alter ego,
Yeah,
I'd say.
yeah.
Reincarnated.
Well, I
But
just,
at the same
I just
time.
thought it was really funny though how
That
he
is
just
funny.
totally changed his voice. Oh, I'm sorry, I have the wrong person.
That's a good way to get somebody off the phone, by the way.
It
I
is.
remember that because I get these robocalls, and
Yes.
sometimes to amuse myself, I'll say something like, "That's an interesting accent. What country are you from?" The other day, I got some gal from South Africa, and she was so pleased that I was interested in where she was from. She started talking about everything, and then about her life, and then all of a sudden she said, "But you know, my boss is listening to me, and I better get back to the business here." I said, "Oh, what business is that?" You know?
You're such a nice guy. So you
Yeah.
get-
Have you guys gotten the IRS calls?
Oh, yeah.
Where the guys
Oh,
pretend to be from the
yeah.
IRS
You know
and say,
what?
you haven't paid your taxes,
You know
we're
what I
going to
do?
contact the
I
sheriff.
call him back. I call him back again and again and again, and finally I get this guy. He says, "We're going to put your name on every Palm Pilot in America." And I said,
Are those still leaving around?
I said, "You know, you're a little behind the times here, my friend."
Oh, that's
Yeah,
funny.
it was a little one of those sweatshops in Pakistan, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they operate.
That's
Hilarious.
funny.
In India.
Yeah, I love that. Internal Revenues
Your
Service
own
is-
money.
Yeah.
And by the way, Internal Revenue Service, by the way,
Never
never
call.
calls you. So if you ever get one of those calls, hang up on them or just keep them on the phone and bug them or call them back again. and
Yeah, I
again.
told him, I kept on the phone. I said, yeah, and just so you know, I'm part of the Attorney General's office, so we'll be calling you really soon. Okay, last question. Who said, what does George know about Yankee pride? When did he ever play for the Yankees?
Talking about George Steinbrenner,
Yes,
obviously.
that's right. That's our trivia question. Stay tuned. We'll give you the answer when we come back. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. All right, right on the money.
Right on the money.
See, it goes fast.
Life goes by quickly when you're having a good time.
Yeah.
So no relations to Steve Kerr, right?
No, or Miranda Kerr.
Or Miranda Kerr. There you go.
Miranda Kerr. Where's Miranda Kerr?
You don't know who Miranda Kerr
Supermodel.
is? Come on, supermodel. Well, of course,
Oh, is
you're married to a beautiful woman, so you don't get distracted.
Brian Kerr's
by that
also
stuff.
a soccer coach.
Oh, is there Brian?
Very
Kerr
famous soccer
I did not
coach.
know that.
He's who floods all my Google alerts. He always has some
Oh.
news about.
Cool.
Yeah.
Over in England or
Yeah, over in.
in the Premier League?
I don't know what team he's part of right now,
Oh.
but yeah, he's been in a soccer coach for a while. And a player
Interesting.
before that.
I went to school with a Kevin Kerr. Around here.
I was thinking
You
Steve
don't look
Kerr.
anything like him. All right.
All right,
Here
here
we
we
go.
go.
It's a short one. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan and our special guest, Brian Kerr. Last trivia question. Who said, what does George know about Yankee pride? When did he ever play for the Yankees?
It's got to be one of two people, either Billy Martin or Reggie Jackson. I think Reggie actually had better relationship with Steinbrenner, George Steinbrenner, the late great owner of the Yankees, than Billy did, because he fired Billy four or five times, and they kept rehiring him. I'd say Billy Martin.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right, Evan.
And Billy Martin, of course, played for the Yankees, too, and was
He was a good second baseman.
He was, and then he was traded away because he was part of a fight. Mickey Mantle was actually the guy that started the fight, and Billy was blamed and traded away. How about that? Because he wasn't a big star. Back in the
Billy was in a fight with
Billy
Mickey?
was in a fight. No, was trying to help Mickey out. Mickey was a little in his cups, and it was at the Copacabana Club, one of these famous fights in the '50s. So
I don't think Mickey needed help from Billy. I know
so
Billy
Billy was a
scrapper.
tough little dude.
I
You don't
know,
want to get in a
he's
fight with that guy.
Small man's
You know,
complex.
Billy's famous philosophy was hit him first before they know what happens. You know, don't
Yeah,
wait.
that's
Don't wait.
really-
Don't
that's-
wait for the first. You know, don't wait to square off. Hit him first.
Well, when you're 3'0" I
Yeah.
guess that's what you got to
That's
do.
what his mom used to tell him. He goes, "Hit him first, Billy. Do it."
You can just imagine that.
Yeah.
Well, Brian Kerr, thank you very much for educating us about esports.
It's been my pleasure.
Real Ventures.
Anytime.
So here we go. Here's our thoughts for the day. John Wooden said, "Don't measure yourself by what you have accomplished, but by what you should have accomplished with your ability." Yeah, a lot of good sayings. And Lou Brock said, "Show me a guy who's afraid to look bad, and I'll show you a guy you can beat every time."
Good
I
advice.
like that.
I like
That's a
that.
good one.
Yeah.
He's still around, isn't he?
He is. He's got cancer though. It's kind of sad. It's a pretty virulent form. He's 77 though. He's had a good life. Nice guy. Nice man. Very nice man. I interviewed him a few times. Yeah.
Not on the field.
Hated him as a player, but loved him as a
Yeah.
person.
I
He
know.
always killed my Giants.
I know we always hated the St. Louis teams,
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
yeah.
All right, so tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long.
All right.
And that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Good
And I
show,
gotta
guys.
hit the road to get to that Giants game.
Oh, yes.
Very nice meeting you, Brian.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
pleasure.
good luck.